if you are here, if you are watching this video, you chose to do option 2. That's when you're taking an anime character and you're imposing your own features on them. So let's say you're doing Naruto, but maybe your skin is darker, your hair is darker, you have different eye color. We're going to go through kind of how to change that. So the first thing that you want to do is, I would suggest opening up the Sketchbook app either on your phone or your iPad. You can do this just traditionally and actually take a piece of paper, pencil, eraser, and whatnot and do it that way. But I like using this app just because it makes things a little bit easier in certain aspects of it, especially when it comes to coloring stuff in. Oh yeah, if you haven't found the Sketchbook app yet, it's in your self-service center on your student iPad. It's gonna just type in Sketchbook or type in Autodesk, and it's gonna be this red pencil. That's your Sketchbook app. And it's also free on the Android store, the iPhone store. It's free on all of those. So you're gonna go ahead, and what you want to do is hit New Sketch. Now hopefully the image you found of your character, I would suggest using an image that exists. Hopefully the image you found of your character, you can make it, as long as it's kind of simple, so you're not drawing someone like a full body version of Mikasa from Attack on Titan. I did that the other day, and holy cow, there is a lot of different little parts to all of her clothing. So I'd suggest trying to find someone with a fairly simple character design. So make sure you change the canvas size to what you need. My picture that I'm going to use for this is vertical. It's a vertical size, so I'm going to go ahead and hit create. Then what you're going to do is import your image. So hopefully you saved it to your camera roll. You're going to click on that second to left button on the menu bar and import image. So the one I want to use is Eri from My Hero Academia. That looks good, but if yours comes in small, just like drag it and make it bigger until you get the size that you want. I probably don't want to do the entire like hands and everything. I'll probably just kind of zoom in here and keep it like this, because that just makes a little less work for me. And I've already done this before. So the next thing you want to do is pull up your layers panel. For me, it comes up on the second button from left, or from the right, and it comes up as like, it looks like two sheets of paper, one on top of the other, or maybe one's casting a shadow. And I'm going to click on the layer itself, because what I want to do is lower the opacity. If I just start drawing now, I might not be able to see the lines I'm making because the image itself is too dark. Then I'm going to click the plus button, add a new layer, and that's what I'll start drawing on. So then the next thing you want to do is find the brush you're going to use and how big you want the brush to be. I made mine too small in the first video, so I'll probably try and make this a little thicker. Let me just practice. Yeah, that looks nice to me. I'm going to use that as my brush width. Again, just find one that you like and stick with it throughout all of the line drawing part. That's going to be pretty important. The next thing you can do is tap on that predictive stroke. I like turning my level up to 3, but that's really going to help smoothen out my lines. See, it just adjusts it for you. So if you have a shaky hand like I do sometimes, that's going to help. So then I'm going to start tracing my character. What I want to do first, and what I suggest you guys do, is start drawing with the chin. Even though I did tell you guys that, hey, the chin is going to help define whether the character is male or female, I would suggest keeping that the same for the most part, just because it really helps out with the style and the look of the character. So let's start with the chin. Oops. Okay, so I did get a little bump there, but that's okay. That's okay. As long as it's not too apparent. Then we're going to go on the other side. Then I'm going to do the ears as well. I'm also going to keep the neck in the same place. So ears and neck, oopsie, that should stay the same. And I would suggest you can change up the clothing a little bit too. Maybe if you don't want to go through building your own new wardrobe, you should change just the color of it. I'm going to put the shoulders in here as well, make those look nice. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and do this collar too. Just want to get that looking good. Now the person I'm going to change this character into, I'm going to change them into my friend. She really likes this character a lot. Yeah, but she has fairly short hair, so I'm going to give her shorter hair. And I'm going to also, yes, probably make the eyelashes a little less prominent. But let's see. I will keep the expression the same. You guys can change up the expression as long as you keep the mouth in a similar place. Like for instance, I could have it where she's like, "Oh, look at that." Or I can have her smiling open mouth, but I'll just keep the expression the same, or try to. But one thing that's pretty important is going to be changing or making sure you get those the little corners of the mouth just slightly bigger than the parts towards the middle. Like that's just, it's something super small, but it makes a difference when it comes to anime. There we go. I thought that was a mistake. Okay. So now I have the chin, ears, and neck and shoulders the same. That's good. That shows me where everything's supposed to be. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the eyes, trying to make the eyes look similar. Again, if you're doing a male character, and your character is originally female, I would suggest just getting rid of the eyelashes. You can still have a thicker kind of top line, but just don't put eyelashes on there. Don't put the little bottom eyelashes as well. And you might need to make the pupils just either a little bit smaller, and that'll make them look a little more masculine. You can also try to change up the eye shape in general, but with My Hero Academia, even the guys, some of them end up having bigger eyes, like the main character, Deku, has larger eyes, even though he still looks masculine. So I'm going to go through and do this. Let's see. Okay, so that made it really round. I did beef up the level, and sometimes it does overcorrect if you do that. But there we go, that looks nice. And then I'll make sure I'm getting the oval. There we go. The pupil. Now this is interesting with this character. The pupil of this character is lighter. Typically you want it darker. My character has darker eyes, so I'll probably just make it a black pupil like most of the times that you see. There we go. Let me draw this part. There we go. That looks nice. So then I'm going to go through. I'll probably take off the predictive stroke when I'm doing this eyelashes, so I can make the lines thicker without it trying to correct my entire drawing. Like it'd be trying to correct this entire line right now if I did that. So I'm going to go through and do both lines. Make sure to get the eyelashes, but I'll probably trim this. So see you in a moment. Okay, you guys, so I'm back. Now I got both parts of my character drawn. I will say, just to show you really quick, if I was changing this character to look like myself, if you have glasses and you're adding glasses, one thing you can do that I would suggest is go ahead, add a new layer, because sometimes drawing the same set of lens is really difficult because it's hard to get it looking right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a lens shape that I like. So right about there, that looks good. Now the thing is, I'm probably going to have a hard time trying to draw that onto the other side. So what I can do is click on the layer, I can duplicate it, then I'm going to go to the second button from right and hit transform. And then I'm going to hit the flip horizontally button. And that's going to just flip it and put it right where I want that. And I hit the check mark. And now I have two little glasses parts. You just put a bridge in between that, and then you can also merge these two layers. So click on the layer, hit merge, and now you have glasses that you can kind of move around. So if you don't exactly like the placement of them, or you want them a little bigger or smaller, you can do that during this stage as well. But my friend does not. Actually, does Paulette have glasses? It's been a while since I've seen her. Yeah, Paulette has glasses. I'm gonna keep the glasses. I'm probably... How's that look? That's not too bad. Let me just transform it just a little bit more. I almost forgot. I'm also probably going to flip it vertically because I kind of like these a little bit better. That looks a little nicer. And then let me edit this. Let me just erase some of this real quick because now the bridge is upside down because I did that. There we go. That looks nice. Let me maybe make them just a little bit bigger. Sit a little higher up. Nice. Okay, I like that. Okay, so another thing too, after I do those, I can merge that below. And then I'm going to add in these little lines. So these lines are pretty important. Anime characters, for some reason, just really look a bit off without them. So these lines show where kind of the eyelid is. I call them eyelid lines. And then I'm going to go through, put in the eyebrows. Oopsie. And you guys might see me using like the undo button, by the way, and that's, I don't know if y'all can tell. Let me see if I can zoom in, make it clear. That little white button right at the bottom middle of your screen, you click on that, it has an undo button, has a redo button. There's also an easy way to get to an eraser from there. So it's pretty handy. Okay. So the next thing too, my friend has shorter hair than I do. Again, I obviously haven't seen her in a while. She used to have like super short hair, but now it's gotten a little bit longer at this point, I think. It's a little closer to when I first met her, so I'm probably going to make it about this length. And then I want to keep the size of the head. Again, if I was to be making this more of a male character, what I could do is kind of like I spiked up my husband's hair for his character, I might make the hair shorter and spikier. But I'm going to keep it like this. One thing you might need to do is add in more of an earlobe for that. And also, I'm probably going to change this horn up a little because I like a more dragon style horn, obviously, because of course I do. Then I'm going to add in the little lines for it. Come on. There we go. Something else too, you might have forgotten to turn back on the predictive stroke, like I have. So if you're wondering, oh, my lines are looking a little shakier, that's probably why. That's just the under part of the hair. Oh, I want that a little bit more curved. And with the hair, you can really kind of change it up a little bit more. And typically what you do, as long as it's not too shaky, is going to come out looking pretty nice. So, there we go. Gonna add a few more lines for the center part. Then have probably a few more going here. Oops, a little too straight. There we go. And one thing you can do too while you're drawing this is go through and see what your character is looking like without all of the lines. So my character is looking like that so far, and that's looking, I mean, without the color underneath. I'm going to extend the shoulders a bit. Well, her shoulder probably goes to right there. And let's get the eraser and get rid of this. Nice. Okay. So then I just want to add, I'm going through now and I'm just adding a little more detail everywhere. Let's put that there. Let's put that there. Little buttons and little overall things. And some of it you might have to just kind of decide for yourself where it's going. Obviously with me cutting that hair, it's going to change that up a bit. Another thing too is don't forget your highlights. I'm probably going to go ahead and move mine because I covered some of them up with glasses. So I'm going to have maybe a highlight here. I'm going to keep that highlight over there, and I know there's one down here, but it's a little hard to see. And then I'll do the same for this side. Put it right there and put it there. There we go. Okay, so at this point, you should have generally what your character is supposed to be looking like. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that original background we used as a model. So now this looks a lot more like my friend. The next thing I want to do is start adding color. So to do that, you're going to go ahead and add a layer, and you want to drag your layer underneath. If you drag it on top, let me go ahead and get the brush I'm going to use for color, which for me is going to be a color builder, but just kind of find one you like. I'd say stay away from like the oil and the charcoal and color pastels. Those are good for more painting styles and traditional drawing, but for digital art, I'd say go for something that drops color really well. So let's say, just for example, I wanted to use pink. If you color and the layers over it, it's going to look like you erased all of your precious work. So make sure you drag that color underneath. That's really going to help it out. I could go ahead and delete that layer, and there we go. Now I have the color underneath. That's where I want it, so that when I start drawing, and my character, well, my friend has lighter hair, a light brown, which you get by going over to the orange, and that'll give you your wide range of browns. So, and then I can start coloring. And my suggestion to you is to do this in different parts. I'd say make a separate layer for the color, make a separate, for the hair color, make a separate layer for the skin color, and make a separate layer for clothing. That's really going to help. And don't worry quite yet about shading. That's something we can add in later. So let me just use this. The brush I'm using, by the way, is called the Color Builder tool. And it's just really helping me get a nice, flat, even color. So we want to start out with flat colors. So I'm probably going to trim this so you guys aren't just watching me color the whole thing. So see you soon. Okay, so that looks pretty nice for flat hair color. The next thing I'm going to add is the skin color. I want to drag and drop that underneath the layer with the hair color, because that's going to be real helpful. My friend is white, so I'm probably going to have her closer to this color. And when it comes to anime characters, I would suggest trying to make their skin pretty light and not too saturated. Then let's change the size of this brush. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna draw that a little bit because I know I can go and adjust that. And this is the nice thing about drawing it on different colors. I can color underneath the hair, and it's not going to show up as if I'm drawing on top of the hair. Keep the whites of your eyes white, by the way. You can always go through and erase that too if you end up going over a little bit like I did there. But try to keep the whites of your eyes white. Don't forget to color in the neck or any of the hands too. Like, I've definitely forgotten that and been like, something looks wrong here, and that's why. Okay, let's color that in. So that's pretty good. Then I'm going to go through, erase a little bit. Let me clean it up some with this transparent color. Again, you can click on this little circle in the middle. That gives you a nice transparent color brush, and if you just click on that again, it'll bring you back to the normal color that you were using beforehand. There are brushes on the library that are specifically for erasing, but I just really like that. It kind of makes things a little quicker, in my opinion. Let me just erase that some. See, the neck is okay-ish, but let me clean this up. Okay. Then next thing I'm going to add is I'm going to go ahead and add the color of the clothing. My friend likes dark blue, I believe. So what I'll probably do, I'll do this kind of grayish blue for some of her clothing. I'm probably going to keep the middle part the same color, but I'll change the color of the overalls because I feel like she'd like that. There we go. Do I want to change anything else? I'll probably actually make the buttons this color too. You know, might as well. Make sure that I'm changing the size so that I can actually accurately get that without making it look too bad. There we go. Okay, and then I believe, oh, what color It's eyes. They can be a whole range of things. I'm pretty sure my friend's eyes are kind of this green color, so I'll probably go with green. So I need to go through and also add in the color of the eyes. Again, if you remember what I told you, go from dark to light with the pupil. So probably want to keep this as my light color. And try not to color in the highlights. And then I'll go, well, let me actually do this first so I don't have to switch between the two colors. I'll go through and add it, make it a little darker. This is something I might end up having to change. I did get one of my other friend's eye colors wrong, because it turns out his eyes are a little more are blue, but in his picture it looks brown. I was like, oops, sorry Joey, let me change that real quick. Pretty sure Paulette has green eyes. It's either green or brown. I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen her. Okay. I accidentally got some of the highlights, so let me get rid of that. And then don't forget the pupil too. I make it black. I just want to make the pupil dark. So I'm going to go ahead. There we go. That looks good. That looks nice. And because that's peeking out a little bit, let me, oops. There we go. Okay. So the last thing that you're probably going to want to do is add in the shadow. I'm also going to just make that a little lighter. Her hair's, I feel like, is a little bit lighter than that. But you're going to go through and add in shadow and shading. Hold on real quick. Forgot the color of this again. I forgot it earlier too. I'll probably keep it the color of the characters, which is gray. Go, and if I want to, I can raise this a little bit more so you can actually see the curve a bit better. Okay, there we go. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new shadow layer. I'm going to probably work on the shadow on the skin first. So that shadow is going to be cast both by that little horn and the glasses, as well as the hair and just the planes of the face in general. So what I want to do is, typically you might want to just take the skin color, drag it down a little bit towards the left and down some and make it just darker. You can also make it kind of this red color or this purple color, depending on how stylized you want your character to look. Oops, don't do that. Yeah, that's better. And it's on the right layer? Yes, okay. That's what I'm looking for. So I'll have it here. And again, this just really helps us out. Maybe have it curved a little bit. I'll have it so that the light's kind of coming over from this side. Like, that's kind of where the light's going. Put some shadow behind here as well, and along the side. Also want to get some here and on the ears. Don't forget your ears. Sometimes it looks weird if there's shadow everywhere else and then the ears don't have anything. Probably clean this up a little though. Nope, let me go back. And then don't forget the neck as well for the color. And so for that, I'm just gonna do it kind of this shape. This is just where the chin is, like the shadow of the chin. Sometimes you'll see it and it'll be like in the middle. You can also just go back to the original photo as a reference and put shadows where they put shadows, if you're kind of having a hard time understanding where it's supposed to go. Also going to put some around the chin, just around there. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, and if you are seeing some of it, like some of it's coming through here, even though I'm drawing underneath the layers, because I changed the opacity of it. And that's fine for now. It's not making too much of a difference, except when I press something wrong. You can also put a little, sometimes you'll see a little shadow underneath the little chin spot, as well as where the nose goes. So sometimes rather than seeing a drawn nose, you might see a little shadow right there. So let me see how that looks. Kind of don't like that, kind of, yeah, I think I'll probably keep it there. I will put some shadow on this side of the eye and under the eyebrow as well. Let me erase this, make this neater. And then also glasses shadow. It's the last shadow I need to worry about as far as skin color goes. So let me put that here. Just kind of have it go like this. Yeah. There you go. We'll say that's where the shadow is. Sometimes you might not even see the shadow of the glasses, by the way, because that does look a little cleaner. Okay, here we go, guys. So that's how you add shadow for face-wise. Now, because my character's hair is darker, I am going to add some darker shadow to the hair color. But I kind of want to keep it that same muted tone. So let me see how this looks. Again, just kind of try it out and see what it looks like. Honestly, this is kind of nice, especially because I'm drawing underneath. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep that. I would recommend maybe referring back to the original picture just for reference so you can kind of know where the shadow goes. But it also does depend on the character that you, or the changes you end up making to the hair. I don't want those that dark. Okay, let me change something here real quick. Change the settings. Get rid of that because I put that in the wrong spot. There we go. Then just try to keep it consistent. The left side's getting the light, so the right side has the shadow, even if it's on the opposite side of your drawing. There we go. That's going to do it for that part of it. Oh, no. There we go. Okay, next thing to add is the shadow on the clothing. So I'm going to go through, I know that this part, I just need this a little darker, so let me add that, make that darker, and then I'm going to go through and add the shading on the side that I want because her hair is short, if the light's coming from the left, typically you might actually see that only the right side's going to have it. But here now we can get on and make the shadow actually go over the top of the shoulder, because her whole right shoulder should technically be in shadow. Okay, there's that. We can also probably do it a little bit here too, just because make it look a little more consistent. Then we'll go through and try to add a little shadow on the button. There we go. And then I also want to do a shadow for the clothing as well, so that's going to be kind of a gray. It can be a lighter gray, it can be a darker gray, but the clothing itself is going to have some shadow. There's going to be shadow under the collar, so a lot of anime characters are going to have collars, so you want to get shadow under there. You want to get any shadow maybe for the folds of the clothes, or kind of around where there should be folds on the clothing. The overalls, because they go over, it's going to have a little bit of shadow here. And there also might still be shadow coming off from her head. So we're going to draw that in as well, and draw in shadow for the right side of her body. Oh, it matches that background really well. But typically that part's going to be left open. Now this is going to be different when you add in hair, like long hair. Long hair is also going to leave shadow marks. Like if I had kept it at the original length, I'd probably have to put some shadows where the hair falls over the shoulders. Okay, you guys, so I just wanted to show you some inconsistencies that I made and some mistakes that I needed to go back and fix. Like I forgot that the collar is also going to be a little bit in shadow, so I'm probably going to try to splice this in to the middle of the video. And then also this part of the overalls is going to have it maybe a little neater. But I forgot that that overall strap is also going to go over the rest of the clothing as well. Yeah, so that's a little better. Another thing too is I put too much shadow right here on the side of the shoulder. It really didn't need that much, and it ended up making it look a little weird. So the rest of the video, you're going to see it without these mistakes, but I just wanted to point these out because I think it's important to try to keep things consistent. But I think that's my husband. He just sneezed. I want to say bless you. And then also up here too, just wanted to say, I also got this right the first time when I did this, but the second time it just looked a little weird. So what you saw just beforehand was the result of the first time that I tried this and during this video, but hopefully, let's see. Yeah, that looks a little nicer now. Okay, that's it. The rest of the video will probably continue, but you will see some of these things missing. So the last thing that I'm going to show you guys is how to save it and upload. Mainly how to save it, so that when you upload it, it's not just a screenshot of your canvas looking like this and you can see all the menu options. Some of you even send it in with the layers panel, but if you go to the first button on the left and you hit share, you can go down and save image. And once you do that, oopsie. Once you do that, you go through, go to your original one. That was the one where it's supposed to look a little more like me. I didn't do as good of a job making it neat though, so I want you guys to make it neater, because you'll have like 3 days to work on this. Then you can also crop it. So there we go. Let me crop that a little bit. Maybe I don't want this much of the shoulders being seen, so there we go. Then you can crop it, and that's what you can submit, and that should look a lot better than just turning it in and it just being a little uneven or a little weird. I would much rather get that than I would just oh, here we go. Send in this screenshot. Like, I mean, that works, but y'all, you can do better. Especially because you can even just crop this off too. But that looks a lot nicer. That's how you do that. If you guys have any questions about it, please feel free to either comment on your own assignment or just ask me through an email. I'm doing a lot of star testing, but I should be able to respond to emails sometime throughout the day. So just let me know if you have any questions. Hope this was helpful to you guys, and I will see you in class when we're not star testing. Bye, y'all.